Get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gon' rise to the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Well, good evening, guys. I hope you guys are doing well this evening. It's nice to see you, Athena. Gigi for life. Beautiful Sonia's up in the house. Teddy, it's nice to see you. Southern Grammy, good evening. Good evening. The real me too is up in the house. JB's mama, it's nice to see you. It's me, Jen. Lord have mercy. I can't even say it. I can't even spit it out tonight. Kathy, it's nice to see you. Good evening. Good evening, all. Pebbles up in the house. It's nice to see everybody. I figured I'd do a one-off. I wasn't expecting to come live, but I was doing some research and reading, and I saw that there wasn't really anybody going live and didn't know, there's a lot of stuff going on. I know we've been focused on the Soto case and a lot of other cases, but, Alec Murdaugh, there's some hearings coming up at the end of this month. And so I just wanted to give everybody an update on this. We're not going to stay on tonight too awfully long. Why I'm drinking coffee, I have no earthly idea, but I am. Good evening. I'm going to probably be up long after this live ends. Justice Jane, it's nice to see you. Get them, girl. Oh, wrong one. Get them, girl. Get them. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. Before we get started on this, I wanted to bring you guys to this. I don't really bring radar articles up. You guys know I don't do like entertainment or anything, with I don't know. I just don't do it. I just don't do it. But every now and again, I'm always checking radar. And every now and again, an article will, did I make a mistake or did you? What's Colton County? Did I spell Colton County wrong? Let me check. Make sure I didn't spell it. I saw somebody say something about Colton County and I'm not sure if I spelled it. I don't think I did. No, I spelled it right. Okay. They were just probably making fixing something you did. Anyways, so this caught my eye. It's about an ex-beauty queen. And I believe we actually this is the first time we're bringing this, but there's a beauty queen out there that's now charged in the plot to kill her estranged husband. I believe we've talked about this. I think we've even showed some videos of this. This is the Shivers, whatever. And we saw her acting, on this video with law enforcement. It was body cam footage of her acting crazy. And she had this boyfriend over in a different, and anyways, long story short, she's been indicted. So I thought I'd bring this up here before we get started on really much else. And so here she is right there. In all intents and purposes had a life, the normal life of the American dream. So Lindy Shiver, a former beauty queen, charged over an alleged plot with ex-football star husband, Robert Shiver. Is it Shiver or Shiver? I think it's Shiver. A husband killed. Whined in court about her strange spouse allegedly breaking a promise to let her see the kids. According to the court documents obtained by Radar Online, Lindsay demanded Robert be found in contempt of court for failing to allow her to visit her children during the short time she was granted until the trial overseas in March. Lindsay claimed that Robert was interfering with her ability to communicate with her kids. She claimed he routinely withheld information from her as the children's whereabouts, despite husband's prior repeated promises to the defendant and her parents to allow visitation of the minor children. Defendant wife has received no visitation with the children since her return from the Bahamas, December 22nd, 2023. Lindsay said Robert has agreed to let her have visitation before the court granted her motion to return home. She claimed the deal was to see the three children as long as her parents supervised. Lindsay claimed that Robert's sudden reneging of the deal after she was released to come to the States, she allegedly cited the expert's opinion of an unnamed child psychologist. Lindsay said Robert refused to name the psychologist, but the ex-beauty queen said despite her children's plea to see their mother, Robert has allegedly denied any in-person contact with the children during the holiday season. We're told Robert's family and friends have concerns about Lindsay's state of mind. And I've got to kind of, believe, in my opinion, somebody that's plotting to kill her husband and looking to actually pay somebody to do it. I think anybody would have grave concerns over their children because, let's face it, we don't know what she's going to do. We see this all the time where parents have nothing to lose. Next thing you know, a major thing's going on, and it happened because, her parents turned their head or didn't believe she was capable of doing something like that. I would like to thank whoever gifted me a membership today. Oh, Mel B, thank you. I think it might have been It's Me, Jen. I can't be 100%, but I think it was. So make sure you tell her thank you. I could be wrong. So, I understand this. And quite frankly, I understand why the father would be withholding the children. If I had children with a man and a man was plotting to kill me over my dead body, are you seeing my kids? I'm sorry. I don't care if it's the man or the woman, it doesn't matter. But I know how I would personally be in a situation like that. I don't know if anybody else is like me. Maybe I'm the only one out here, But I'm sorry, you plot. If I have kids with you and you're plotting to whack me, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be around you or I'm going to let my children around you. To me, that would say you're probably deemed violent, okay? And I don't want to subject my children to violence, and I don't want to put them in harm's way. But let's face it, normal people, I mean, we've all been angry. I mean, I think there's many of us in here. I know I'm personally a divorcee, right? I don't know how many other people are in here that are divorced people, but we didn't kill our spouses. I mean, we didn't attempt to kill our spouses. So normal people, in my opinion, let me throw this out there, in my opinion, because I don't know if people have the same opinion as me, right? In my opinion, I have to think that normal people, when they have a problem with their spouse, just don't run to the corner, you know, hitman and start planning to and plotting to get your ex out of your way. Divorce, they're Justice date exactly. Divorce 30 years, right? I mean, come on, we didn't whack ours. If we didn't do it, nobody can. Okay, let's just be honest. I got to be honest. My divorce, from everything I see and hear, my divorce was a blessing. I mean, there wasn't really any fighting. Heck, me and my ex-husband went out and had a cocktail and a slice of pizza after our divorce. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, as amicable as of a divorce as anybody could ever have, I definitely had that amicable divorce. And it still took me 2 years to get the paper signed. You know, it still took. We fought over nothing. I mean, I was angry with him. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of hurt feelings there, but you know, obviously we're divorced, right? So you don't get divorced because you guys are doing great, you know? So there's just a lot, and we didn't do it. So I mean, I do understand, but for me personally, you trying to whack me over my dead body, or you're going to see my kids. I mean, period. I don't care if I gave birth to them or not. Over my dead body, are you seeing my kids? So January 29th. January 29th is the court. I think was this argument pertaining to the new trial. So this is going to be the new trial for the inappropriate statements that Becky Hill said to the clerk. And that's kind of what we're getting into tonight is, you know, there's some court hearings coming up. We know that there's two major issues. We're going to be going over, there's some, you know, Law and Crime just dropped the interrogation interview of Buster Murdaugh. So we're going to be going over that tomorrow morning at 7:30. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, 7:30 is the time for tomorrow's live. So don't be waking up at 5:30 thinking you guys got to be ready and with your pads and paper at 6:30. We're pushing it to 7:30 tomorrow. We may push Saturday to 8:30. I don't know. We'll see how everybody does. I just know people get up to come to the show, and I want to make sure everybody's well aware that we're not going 6:30 tomorrow. So all my ride or dies, sleep in. You get an extra hour, okay? An extra hour. This is a big old kiss for me. There you go. I'm letting you sleep in. I'll take gotta take my son to work. Okay. I need some more notebooks. I'm sure you do. You need some more sleep. I don't think your few hours of sleep today justified the 3 days that you were up researching. Just saying. So the 29th, he's going to be in front of Justice Toll. She's an amazing lady. I hope if anybody, we might go over maybe tomorrow's going to be a really long day because I mean the videos themselves are literally hour long. So if you guys are coming tomorrow, pack a lunch because we're going to be here for a while tomorrow. And like I said, the interrogation's about an hour and a half. When he was on the stand, we're going to be comparing what he said in his interrogation to what he said on the stand. We've got his testimony from the stand up. That's another hour and a half. So we got 3 hours just in videos. That's not even commentary. This is probably going to stretch out for a couple days, this conversation about everything, lunch party, about Buster. This is the side we didn't see. You know, we had Alec Murdaugh's interrogations released fairly quickly. I don't know why they chose to release them, but we never heard Buster. We didn't really hear a whole lot from Buster until that Martha McCallum interview. So before we roll into the latest and greatest of Becky Hill, again, we're not going to stay here too awfully long tonight. We're going to just roll through it, but I do have a few articles that I wanted to read to you, and we're going to go into the intro video, which is about 8 minutes, little under 9 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up now.
The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder, guilty, verdict.
That is the clerk of courts in Colton County, Rebecca Hill, better known as Miss Becky. Alec Murdaugh and his defense team have accused the clerk, Miss Becky Hill, of the unthinkable, tampering with the jury. The defense team say she did this for a book deal, money, and fame. However, the ghostwriter to her book has a different opinion of the situation. Here's what he has to say.
The only thing I can tell you is her integrity, which is she's one of the most genuine people I have ever met.
Just got to stop it there because he's singing a different tune now, because now she's also accused of plagiarism, right? So we have an ethics violation, a wiretapping, plagiarism. I mean, they just keep racking up. And Neil actually came out, and I think it's, you know what? I think it's just too much pressure for him. And he's just distancing himself from her. I don't really know what the truth is. Nobody's really going to know the truth until this goes to trial, until the ethics complaint stuff is done, until the wiretapping stuff. We're really not going to know. So again, this was taken quite some time ago. And when I heard that, I'm like, wait a minute, he's singing a different tune now. So I figured I'd stop it and explain it.
We now know from Twitter post by Eric Bland, an attorney that took care of the Satterfield boys, as well as Stephen Smith's mother, is now representing the jurors that made these claims, and stated to Mr. Harpootlian, you told them to get an attorney, and they got me.
The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder, SC Code 16-3-0010, CDR Code 0116. Guilty, verdict.
We never considered the likelihood, as reported to us by the jurors, that the clerk of court would go in to the sanctity of the jury room before he testified and tell the jurors, don't be fooled by his testimony.
The only thing I can tell you is her integrity, which is she's one of the most genuine people I have ever met. She's a rule follower.
The information we got, I can tell you, was independent of each juror. The first juror we talked to, we got information about Ms. Hill saying, don't be fooled. And then the second juror, independent of the first juror, says the same thing, and the third juror, independent of the other two, say the same thing. And so we're very confident.
Hill, according to Murdaugh's motion for a new trial, made up a story about a Facebook post that claimed a juror dubbed Egg Lady had talked with her ex-husband about the case. That juror was removed right before closing arguments and replaced with an alternate, James McDowell. Murdaugh's lawyers believe Egg Lady would have voted not guilty, possibly causing a hung jury.
I want to thank the Colton County Clerk of Court, Becky Hill, and her entire team and their staff. I don't know. I call her Becky Booth. That's her nickname. But Madam Clerk, wherever you are tonight.
So why would Miss Hill do something like this? Well, the defense believes it was for this book called Behind the Doors of Justice that she co-authored with Neil Gordon.
I started working with her in late March and reached back to her. Becky said, well, I may want to write a book. And so they put us together, and we accomplished writing the book within 6 months. Most books are, and many of the Murdaugh books are, a year to 2 years in the makings. I would say it was a pretty rapid pace. I was very surprised at a lot of the allegations. The Becky Hill that I've known for 6 months, I mean, I asked her every question under the moon about all of her duties, dealing with the jury and the attorneys and the judge and the public and the media and everything. And the only thing we discussed, which gave me an idea about her integrity. She said it was a very prayerful jury. And I said, well, did you get to pray with them? And she said, oh, goodness, that is against my oath of office. We're not allowed to do that. We did pray with folks on my staff, but it was just a prayerful jury. So it was very surprising. And one of the reasons I wanted to come on is Dick Arpulian and Jim Griffin tried to pin the book as a linchpin or a reason why some of these allegations were made and what she's alleged to have done. This is a self-published book. Together, we put $30,000 of our own money because we believed in having a piece of history for what's considered the trial of the century. And so we put our blood, sweat, and tears and money into it. So to say that there, was a book deal, that's why, perhaps some of those allegations were made is ridiculous. It was self-published and it was checked through the ethics commission. She's entitled, like anyone else, to write a book and to offer up her opinions. And in this case, I mean, the title says it all. I mean, Behind the Doors of Justice. This was just an opportunity to explain a little bit how the sausage was made, if you will, and for her to be able to explain just how things, happen behind the scenes. And it's just a fascinating read. And there is an opportunity for there to make money. Hasn't made money yet. Don't know if it will. But really was just a great opportunity, once in a lifetime opportunity to take a snapshot in history.
Neil Gordon was also asked about the allegations that Becky Hill was seen in the bathroom with the foreperson having private communications.
Well, I wasn't there, so I wasn't privy to any of these supposed back office conversations. The only thing I can tell you is her integrity, which is she's one of the most genuine people I have ever met. She's a rule follower. Not one, as I mentioned about the prayer, not one to try to deviate to her oath of office, which she took very seriously, especially under the guidance of Judge Newman, who she respects greatly. She will be continuing to review these allegations with her attorneys in Columbia. They will be putting out a statement, and we'd be happy to send that to you. I can't speak for her. Other than I can vouch for her character. I mean, there's conversations that go on if somebody's sick, things of that regard, hello, kind of thing. She's sort of like the operations manager in a big company. She's just working with a lot of different entities.
I do believe that.
But, those were the only conversations that we talked about her having with the jury. And I spent, like I said, 6 months with her, a lot of nights and weekends, and I asked her every question imaginable about where she was, what she was thinking, who she had conversations with, what she overheard, just the major who, what, why, where that we would all ask. And never did anything at all come up like that. The only thing, like I say, that we did put in the book was about the prayer, and I was touched by how she defended their right to pray, but the fact that she wasn't allowed to pray with them. It's just against the rules of conduct for a clerk of court. Very prayerful jury. It's in chapter 12 of Behind the Doors of Justice. She listed the fact that they were, I think it was prayerful, persistent, and I'm forgetting the last P, but in describing the jury, just how purposeful they were and careful they were, in terms of however they, conducted their business. About Becky is that she's going to tell the truth, whatever the allegations are. She's going to respond and tell the truth. And I know that she's not going to get into any kind of a spitting match with the Murdaugh attorneys. She has her own attorneys, and they're reviewing all of the allegations, and soon enough, she'll make a statement.
We have learned from the state attorney that they will be filing the necessary paperwork in response to the defendant's allegations in due time. I really do hope you...
Okay. So there you have it. There you have it, folks. So a lot has changed since that video was produced. I can't even tell you when that was produced. Hold on a second. I'll let you know in just a second. This was produced September 8th, many months ago, like 4 months ago. And that was produced at that time. A lot has changed since the production of that. Neil has kind of changed his position with Becky, especially after the plagiarism allegation. It seemed like that was the final straw for him. Becky did go through an ethics review for this book prior to. So I was a strong defender of Becky Hill. Many of you know, I don't believe the allegations. I know defense attorneys need to gnaw on any meat to a bone when appealing a case. I mean, he's convicted of a double homicide, one of that involves his wife and his son. Hey, Kelly, it's nice to see you, love. So we have a lot of reasonings why they need to attack someone. But I didn't believe it. I didn't take a lot of stock in the allegations. When we first started learning of them, I'm like, this is not a big deal. Don't worry about it. And then the proposed, it wasn't filed yet. It was proposed. A motion for new trial was released after a very theatrical press conference from Dick and Jim, right? I mean, they look like a bunch of fly old guys, right? We were sitting there, they had their shades on, they had their ties, they're looking, really, really smooth up there. They're going to kick some butt. They're going to, it was their outfits matched, they didn't match perfectly. You knew who the main characters were, and the one guy to the side that had the blended tie that blended both Dick and James. I mean, they were matching. I mean, come on, they were some fly guys. All right, they were fly guys. They were fly old guys, right? We were teasing them. And so they come out there, and so we read that, and when I read it, I'm like, you guys saw me. I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't tell me she did this. Please don't tell me she did this. And then I started reading the affidavits, and I'm like, okay, we have the affidavits, and we're reading the affidavits, and it seemed like the only people that provided Jim and Dick the affidavits appeared to be the ones that were kicked off the jury. That wouldn't have really a whole lot of knowledge because they were kicked off fair. I mean, one of them was there for a couple of weeks, I believe. I think it was the egg lady, right? Something like that. She was the one with the email issue and the ex-husband, and it was just a lot of drama. And the reason why we call her egg lady is because when Judge, oh gosh, why can I think of his name? I'm so tired right now. When the judge kicked her off, he basically said, is there anything else that Newman, geez Louise, I can't even think tonight. Judge Newman, when Judge Newman went to kick her off, he's like, well, do you need to get anything else? And she's like, yeah, I just need to go get my eggs. And we didn't know the context behind the whole eggs. One of the other jury members brought them all fresh eggs to the jury. So when she said that, I mean, I even think that we heard chuckles coming from the where the people were, the public sat. I think we even heard that because I know we were cracking up on the end of this computer. It was one of those things where it was a hilarious situation. I mean, we didn't know what was going on. We knew she was getting kicked off, but hey, stop the hate or in the hate. But anyways, it was just really hilarious. But it seemed like it was just the people that seemed to have been humiliated or, were rubbed the wrong way. It didn't seem like it was the actual jury that deliberated and brought the verdict down. It didn't seem like it was any of them. And then, when we read the affidavit, it basically said that Becky was saying this to the entire jury body. And so our point was, well, if she said it to the entire jury body, we should have more affidavits than we have. We didn't have any more affidavits, and nobody was willing to proffer affidavits to them. And there was one person that they said was willing to sign the affidavit, but kept giving them the runaround, basically. So it didn't seem like that juror was really willing to give them an affidavit. So I don't know. Either way, I didn't believe it. I was a strong defender of Becky Hill until when I started changing my position and realizing that, she's got some flaws that we've overlooked, was when her son, Jeffrey, AKA Colt Hill, was arrested for wiretapping. And one of the very first things I said was, this is not good, because now I know that Becky she has no problem with shenanigans. And that's exactly what I said, because I know country boys, and country boys are mama's boys. And that boy ain't doing nothing without his mama's approval. And if he was listening in, he had mama's approval. And that was, we've learned that was a good observation, because later we found out that when they did arrest Colton, they took her phone. They confiscated her phone. They had a warrant for her phone. And I absolutely believe she was, they had concocted together to listen in to find out what was going on with her ethics stuff. That wasn't a good strategy, period. It just wasn't. So that was kind of when my defense of Becky Hill kind of started subsiding, because I realized, when I was defending her, I was thinking she's an upstanding, good clerk. And while in most accounts, I'm sure she is. I'm sure she is. And I'm sure this is something probably as simple as her just being nervous about what's going on and just wanting to have an edge to find out what was going on. But either way, she violated the law in the process. And it doesn't make her look good on the heels of a motion for new trial. I just don't understand what she was thinking. And it really causes a lot of people, like Eric Bland has been fighting for the victims. This has got to put him in the hot seat as well, because think about it. We don't want to have a new trial. It's very costly. Anyways, I'm going to get off my soapbox. We're going to read the article from the Statesman. Is it the Statesman? The State, excuse me, the State. Okay, I think we can open this up just a little bit more. Actually, I like it. Let's have them read it to us instead of Bullhorn Betty. Why don't we do that? And we have the ability. You might have to listen to a commercial. Let's listen.
Becky Hill tampering case transferred to SC Supreme Court as Murdaugh files new attack. South Carolina Supreme Court Chief Justice Donald Beatty ordered Wednesday that all records in Alex Murdaugh's appeal of his double murder conviction be transferred from Colleton County to the Supreme Court Clerk of Court in Columbia. Beatty indicated there would be a conflict of interest if the case were kept in Colleton County, where Murdaugh was tried and convicted last winter, because a key figure in Murdaugh's appeal is Colleton County Clerk of Court Becky Hill. In appeals to the case, Hill has been accused by Murdaugh's lawyers of tampering with jurors, making statements to try to influence them to convict Murdaugh and other inappropriate behavior. As Clerk of Court, Hill oversaw court interactions with jurors and was in a position to have contact with them throughout the 6-week trial. She has denied wrongdoing. Because defendants, Murdaugh's, motion for a new trial contains allegations related to the conduct of the Colleton County Clerk of Court, I find it would be inappropriate for documents in this case to be filed in Colleton County, Beatty wrote in a 2-page order. Murdaugh was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms in prison for the 2021 murders of his wife, Maggie, and son Paul. In his appeals, he contends he is innocent. Just a quick word from our sponsor.
Hi, I'm David Moss with Moss Nissan. When it comes to servicing your vehicle, Moss Nissan is simply the best. You'll notice the difference the moment you walk through our door. Our team is like family, and we look forward to treating you like part of our family. With our state-of-the-art service facility, factory-trained technicians, we are more equipped to service all make and models. Plus, with our extended service hours, our pickup and drop-off service, you can have your vehicle serviced according to your schedule, not ours. Experience the Moss difference today. Moss Nissan, whatever it takes.
From now on, all documents, orders, and correspondence related to Murdaugh's appeal should be filed with the Supreme Court, Beatty said. In other developments in Murdaugh's appeal Wednesday, Judge Jean Toll, a former state Supreme Court Chief Justice assigned to oversee Murdaugh's appeal, will hold a hearing on Tuesday, January 16, to discuss motions and other details of an upcoming full-fledged appeal hearing on the jury tampering allegations that begins January 29. The January 16 hearing, as well as the January 29 hearing, be open to the public and be held at the Richland County Courthouse. Murdaugh's lawyers filed a 21-page brief Wednesday with the state Supreme Court outlining the case they intend to make to Toll at the public hearing that begins January 29. In their Wednesday brief, Murdaugh's lawyers, Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin, made it clear that discrediting Hill is a cornerstone of their effort to win an appeal. Her credibility is the crux of the matter before the court, Murdaugh's lawyers wrote. The purpose of the January 29 hearing is to allow the court to decide whether it believes the word of Ms. Hill more than it believes the sworn testimony of one or more jurors. Anything that impeaches Ms. Hill is relevant. In the last 2 months, Ms. Hill is alleged to have stolen money, illegally sold access to the courthouse, conspired with her son to conduct illegal wiretaps, and even had her book removed from publication because of her plagiarism, Murdaugh's lawyers wrote. In their brief, Murdaugh's lawyers also contend that Hill's actions by her extensive private communications with jurors were such that she violated Murdaugh's constitutional right to a fair trial. The lawyers also contend that under the law, they don't have to prove that any juror was in fact influenced by Hill's improper communications, just that she tried to influence them. Hill, outside the presence of the court, Murdaugh and his attorneys, used her official authority to direct the verdict to her preferred outcome. This is, fortunately, a vanishingly rare event, but it is one that requires a new trial, Murdaugh's lawyers wrote in their brief. Even if every juror were to testify that he or she would have reached the same verdict regardless of Ms. Hill's tampering, a new trial is required if it is proven that Ms. Hill communicated with jurors about the merits of the evidence presented, the brief said. That position contrasts with filings by prosecutors, who contend that Murdaugh must show not only improper contact between Hill and jurors, but also that one or more was influenced by Hill. In their own filing on Thursday, prosecutors argue that any evidentiary hearing is unnecessary, as the burden is on Murdaugh to show that any improper influence on the jury occurred. They argue only one juror who actually took part in the deliberations attributes statements to Clerk Hill which resemble arguments made by the state, but the juror does not claim she was influenced by Hill, but that she merely felt pressure from other jurors. If a hearing does take place, prosecutors argue that it should only consist of Toll asking each juror whether their guilty verdict was based only on the testimony, evidence, law and arguments of counsel as presented at trial. The hearing should only proceed further if any jurors indicate that it was not. The state also wants a protective order to ensure the jurors remain anonymous. This story was originally published January 4, 2024, 9:28 a.m.
Next article.
Fewer murders.
Okay, so you guys got the gist of that. There's a couple things that I want to discuss. One, I don't think you guys heard me. I just realized my microphone was off. Is I disagree with a statement that just because somebody may say something to a jury that it automatically entitles them to a new trial. I absolutely disagree. I believe that their attorneys are inaccurate. Now, again, this is up to the South Carolina judge in courts to decide. This is, I know Florida law. There's, each state has kind of, they all are built based upon the same concept of law. They're just done differently. They're in different orders. They have different meanings in different states. They have different powers in different states, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not quite sure how it is in South Carolina, but I have to think it's pretty much similar. And we just discussed this on another case in which I can't remember. It was just in the last week or two where somebody else was taking the hearing to do a new trial. We just talked about it. And I can't think of it for whatever reason. I can't think of it. And I know one of you guys probably will remember it, but it was just in the last week or two that we were talking about it. And I actually referred to the Alec Murdaugh trial and talked about this whole motion for new trial situation. But you're not going to get, actually, I think it was this morning. I think it was the Maya case, as a matter of fact, that we were talking about it because they were trying to get a new trial. And then there was another one. I can't remember. No, it was another one within the last week because they were going to an appeal. It was similar scenario. It was, I believe it was a murder case, and they were taking it to the Supreme Court, and they said that they didn't have, maybe it was Lewis Lint. Maybe it was the Lewis Lint stuff that we were talking about. I'm unsure. I'm unsure. But anyways, and we discussed how it was Lewis Lint because he was ordered by the lower court to be released from jail, and then the state appealed it, and the appellate judges, which was a 3-panel judge, basically said, no, you did not prove that there was enough wrongdoing here to warrant a new trial. That there was nothing that was going to justify the outcome of this case. They didn't prove it. And I remember saying that, we have to remember, just because a defense attorney puts it into a motion doesn't make it true. It just makes it their argument. It doesn't mean that the information in there is accurate or true. It just means that they found information that it may be true. It may be true. It's possible. We talk about possible on this channel all the time. Anything is possible. Truth is stranger than fiction. Literally, when I mean anything is possible, I truly mean anything is possible, including aliens. Right? I need to stop. The purge is real. The purge is real. My purge. You guys are going to kill me. The purge is real. But they're alleging basically that even if it wasn't going to change the outcome of the trial, that they're still entitled to a new trial. I totally disagreed with that. I think it's been proven more in more states than not, that just because there is, that there's mistakes that happen in trials. Again, our system isn't perfect. We as human beings aren't perfect. Our law is designed for imperfection. And so it has to be fairly egregious. If a jury comes back, 12 people come back and say you're guilty, you've convinced 12 people, your peers. You have to come up with some substantial evidence that says something happened that would have made them change their mind had they heard it. You can't go in there and say, oh, well, we don't know what she said, but we know she said something to them, and we believe it could have changed the outcome of this case. Meanwhile, all the jurors are saying, no, it's not changing squat. And they're still saying that they're going to be entitled to it. And again, because they're bringing this, they're the ones, even though they're the defense, they're bringing the appeal, challenging the ruling. So basically, they're in a kind of a plaintiff position. So they're required to meet their burden because they're the ones alleging the wrongdoing. So they have the burden of proof on them to prove it. It's not for the state to prove. So when they say, it says, because the defendant Murdaugh's motion for new trials contains, this is another thing that we did not hear about, the money theft. I don't think we covered money theft on here, so I'm going to dig into that too. But it says, because the defendant Murdaugh's motion for new trial contains allegations related to the conduct of Colleton County clerk, they find it, so she's not going to be presiding over any cases, which we know. When you're become a witness in the case, you're kind of removed from any more hearings or work done with that case. So did they do this for strategic purposes? I mean, it's possible. Think about it. When Dick and James came out with a motion for new trial, they basically put Becky and Judge Newman on notice that they are going to be most likely witnesses in this appeals process. So now when you make somebody a witness, they can no longer preside. See, smart strategy. They can no longer preside over other matters. They're now a witness in another matter. It clouds it. They've got to, they can't do it. So this is where where was it? Here it is. In the last 2 months, Miss Hill is alleged to have stolen money. This is the first I heard of some stolen money. Illegally sold access to the courthouse. Now, I never heard it couched quite like that. I did hear she took some people on private tours and had some photo ops or, selfies with people, which is in this day and age, it's not uncommon for any political figure to have selfie with people, even in the capacity of their official duty. Okay. It happens all the time. I see it. I see it with every political in every place. Anytime somebody walks out, they ask if they can take a selfie. No problem, no foul. You take a selfie. Every single elected official I know has selfies with people on the job. So I'm really kind of, I'm just trying to be fair. So I never heard she illegally sold access. When you say sell or sold, you're implying that there was some kind of monetary or benefit received from that. So they have to explain that. You can't just wildly and loosely allege this. They have to have something that supports this. And then they also said conspired with her son to conduct illegal wiretaps. And I do believe she did that. And that's what's making it hard that you can believe she can do one thing without believing she can do another. And that's where my personal conflict and turmoil comes with Becky Hill. Everybody knows, if you guys have been watching me through this entire trial, and you can go back and check for yourself, I am a Becky Hill defender. But I have to be honest, this is getting so much. It's hard. It's hard to continue to defend her when you're seeing these bad behaviors and behaviors that I do not condone. Do I think she did anything? It doesn't, and it's still, one doesn't mean she did the other. Okay, just because we agree that the wiretapping happened doesn't mean she put her hands on the scales of justice in her official capacity as clerk. It doesn't look good, but one's related to ethics and one's related to her ability to manage a trial. One's related to a book and people having heartburn that she may have done something in politics, and you get a notice. I mean, I deal with it in Manatee County with, and the only experience I really have here in Manatee County is my experience with my county commission, because that's what I'm more heavily involved in my county commission than I really am in anything else. And I know the attacks that my county commissioners have had to deal with, whether true or not true, mostly not true. There's been some situations where there was something that was partially true that was blown so far out of proportion. It was ridiculous. And those things are common in politics. And she is a political figure. That is an elected official. So it is a voted on position. So you never allow, what was that statement? You never allow a crisis to go to waste or something like that. It's a political thing. And so I know a lot of people don't understand it, but I do. And I know these things do happen. When she says that, she's being sabotaged from, an employee that's no longer there, I've seen it happen myself. So when she says stuff like that, even though the rest of the world may not believe it because they're not in politics, I do, because I am, and I have seen it, and I've seen it more times than I haven't. I've seen it more times than I haven't. Tattooed Rebel, it's nice to see you, Love Bug. Oh, it's me, Jen. Thank you. If you received your gifted membership from Jen, please tell her thank you. She gifted 2 memberships this evening. Thank you, and God bless you for the support, the love and support of this channel. So now that we have that, I wanted to kind of give you, this is Donald Beatty. He's the one that had this ruling, whether or not Becky can be involved with this case. And I just thought it was a good an opportunity to give you a little background on him. And it's Donald Wayne Beatty. He was born April 29th, 1952, is the Chief Justice of South Carolina Supreme Court and formerly a South Carolina Court of Appeals judge and state representative. He was elected to a seat on the South Carolina Supreme Court on May 23rd, 2007 to replace Justice E.C. Burnett III. He became Chief Justice on February 1st, 2017. He's a very astute judge and obviously highly respected in the state of South Carolina. Beatty was born in Spartanburg, South Carolina, to Arthur and Ruth Beatty. He's a graduate of South Carolina State University with a Bachelor's of Art degree in 1974 and a University of South Carolina Juris Doctor degree in 1979. He married Angela D. Chestnut February 23rd, 1985, and they have 3 beautiful children. His political career, Beatty served as a member of the Spartanburg City Council from 1988 to 1990 and served 2 terms in South Carolina House of Representatives from 1991 to 1994, representing the 31st District. On February 25th, 2016, President Obama nominated Beatty to serve on the United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the District of South Carolina, the seat vacancy by Judge Cameron McGowan Curry, who assumed senior status on October 3rd, 2013. On June 21st, 2016, a hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee was held on his nomination, and on July 14th, 2016, his nomination was reported out of committee by voice vote. His nomination expired January 3rd, 2017, with an end date with the end of the 114th Congress. So a very well-rounded, obviously highly respected judge in South Carolina. Absolutely believe he has the ability, hands down, to make this ruling. And being the chief judge, I think he's proper in this ruling. I don't think anybody needs to be touching this. It needs to be a whole new suit of people, and that's exactly what they did when they got Judge Toll involved in this as well. What else do we have here? Aha, this is the one.
Sandra Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder, SC Code 16-3-0010, CDR Code 0116. Guilty, verdict.
New allegations of misconduct by Clerk of Court Becky Hill in Alec Murdaugh's double murder trial. Murdaugh claims Hill was emailing prosecutors during the trial about the testimony of defense witnesses.
Ooh, that would be interesting. I'm interested in that. Let's listen to that again. I'm going to back it up just a little bit.
Hill was emailing prosecutors during the trial about the testimony of defense witnesses. Will we see Becky Hill, the jurors, and Judge Newman on the stand later this month? We've got the scoop with a lawyer from South Carolina. I'm Anjanette Levy. It's Thursday, and this is Crime Fix. What
I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, excuse me, and review that whole thing. Here's this. I'm going to go ahead and pop it down here. If you guys would like to review it, go ahead and review it. I'm going to review it and piece it apart. Lastly, we've got this one. This is the one I wanted you to see, and I apologize about that. I had the wrong one up, and when I started playing, I wanted to stop it. This is the one I really want you guys to see.
Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, George. The argument Alec Murdaugh's lawyers are making for him to get a new trial has very little to do with Murdaugh himself, but instead the clerk court, Becky Hill, and questions about her behavior during his trial.
This morning, new evidence in the push for a new trial for disgraced South Carolina lawyer Alec
thank you,
Murdaugh.
Sonia. God
Murdaugh's
bless you.
legal team submitting to the court 2 emails court clerk Becky Hill forwarded to the prosecution during the double murder trial, criticizing a defense witness and suggesting what to ask him.
Guilty, guilty, guilty.
Hill read the verdict when Murdaugh was found guilty of murdering his wife and son. Murdaugh's team now accusing her of tampering with the jury.
There's going to be an evidentiary hearing about what Becky Hill did and did not do. And obviously, if the prosecutors received emails from Becky Hill, they are witnesses. They are witnesses to her conduct.
I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, in all fairness, thank you, Jen. God bless you guys. God bless you. If you guys received your gift membership, please thank Sonia or Jen. Thank you. I'm done. Okay. So Becky Hill, it's kind of hard here because we're seeing this play out, but did she really have that much of an impact on the jury? And was she that heavily involved? Again, these are just allegations being wildly wielded by the defense. They have to prove all of this. They have to show that she was emailing this and the context of those emails. She is the clerk. She's basically the operations manager of that trial. And therefore, she's going to have to deal with a lot of moving parts. Is it uncommon for her to email with the defense or the prosecutors? Of course not. It's not. Depending on what is inside those emails will depend on her conduct and whether it was proper or improper. We need to see them. The courts need to see them. I'm sure it's going to come out. And we know that they're going to be doing the hearing at the Richland County Court, the courthouse. Actually, let me do this right now. Richland County Courthouse. Give me just a second. All right, so there's a few, and that is where exactly is that? I don't know what community that's in. It's Richland. It's near Columbia, West Columbia. I see that. So at least Buster might be, if it's in Columbia, he might be, or near Columbia, he might be there. I actually, let me see how far it would go to get their directions. I'm not showing you guys directions, but I am going to put them in and see how. So it looks like about 8 hours. I don't know. I mean, we could, to be honest with you, we could go to this hearing. If you guys want to go, if you guys want me to go live from the new trial hearing, appellate hearing, I'm happy to do so. It is open to the public. So put a 1 in the chat if you guys want to go to South Carolina, because it's less than 8 hours away. It would only be gas and a night stay at the at a hotel. I probably won't stay. I'll probably stay like I usually do, about an hour or so outside of where this is actually taking place for safety reasons. Okay. Yeah, I think this would be a good one for us. I mean, we've been following the Alec Murdaugh case now for, I mean, literally we went everything Alec Murdaugh. I mean, I went to his auction. We've had a pretty good handle on this case for some time. Okay, so maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do that. That'll be the 29th. So we'll do the 28th. Let me go ahead and make those. Yeah, hold on a second. Oh, it's not even typing. Why isn't it typing? Sorry, guys, just bear with me. Yeah, that looks good. We only need one night. We don't need anything else. So it looks like our room will be like $130 or less. The gas going there is going to be about, I don't know, about $130. So I mean, like 260 round trip to go and cover the case. I think that is going to be a good option. I really do. I think that'll be a good option, is to get all right. Well, what I'll do is I'll look on where this I'll look on where the actual courthouse is, and I'll map my trip, and then I'll let you guys know for sure if we're going to go. I don't want to say that we're going to go and then not go. So I'll know by tomorrow when we do our live in the morning. I'll do some additional research here and see if it's doable. Budget, timing, everything, and if it is doable, we'll go ahead and commit to getting out there. So just stay tuned, and that'll be for. I know they have a hearing on the 16th as well. They got two different hearings, one on the 16th and one on the 29th. I think I'm going to go to the 29th hearing. I'll check into both hearings and find out which one we want to go to, but I think it's going to be the 29th hearing that we're going to attend, not the 16th, just to let everybody know. The 29th would probably be the most reasonable. Let me know if you need money, and I'll try to help. Yeah, yeah, in any type of these where we go on a trip, we do $1 will do compare. We crowd fund. So anytime that you guys can help with these trips, it's always welcomed, because they do get costly. I mean, this is a night and it's costing $260. I mean, to be honest with you, that's expensive. So anything that you guys can do to help with that, please do. The best way to do that, if you're wanting to help with a trip, is the PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo, because YouTube takes 45% of your super chat, super stickers, and super things. So in order for us to get 100% of those proceeds for these trips, the best way to do it is the PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. And again, it's strictly up to you guys if you want to help with these things. I try to do it with the budget that I have, but you guys know it's tight. Okay, it takes a lot of money to go out to these things. We're a small channel. This is a viewer sponsor channel. So if we do go out, it really does need to be sponsored by the channel. So that's just where we're at. But we try to budget, and trust me, I'm a cheap woman, so you don't have to worry about me going and living an elaborate lifestyle out on the road. I mean, there's been times where we've been so disgusted by our cheap room that we couldn't even stay in it. It was so dirty. So I mean, we budget the heck out of our trips. I can promise you that. We budget the heck out of our trips. They take 30%. They take 30%. I don't know what they take. I heard people say they take 50, 45, 30. I truly don't know. I know that we just signed new stuff, and it said, and I remember seeing it, it said 45% on it. And I just recently signed it within the last year. So I don't know. It's one or the other. So either way, they take a cut. So if you want 100% of your proceeds, is all I'm saying. If you want 100% of your proceeds to go to the trip fund, these are the ways to do it. But other than that, I think Becky Hill's in a world of problems. I think she's got herself into a little bit of a pickle, even if she's found, exonerated, so to speak, of any kind of tampering with this trial with the jury. I still think this whole ethic thing is going to do her in. One was a result of the other. Like, I don't think that this whole ethics thing would have been an issue if it wasn't for Alec Murdaugh's defense attorney, sounding the alarm, saying, accusing her of doing horrible things. I don't think that this whole book thing would have been such a sticking point. What made this book thing a sticking point is because of their allegations that they levied upon her. And it made people look at her and put a magnifying glass on her. And when you put a magnifying glass on somebody, you're going to be able to find something. Why? Because nobody's freaking perfect. Everybody's got issues, okay? Even the people with the magnifying glass. It's just nobody wants to acknowledge it, right? So either way, I think she just got herself into a pickle. And I feel like, I truly feel like she seen an opportunity that she could capture this. This is, to be honest with you, she was put in a position where she had a personal insight that nobody else had. And I'm glad she brought it to the world. I'm glad she really did, present her side of it to the world. And I hope people buy her book. I heard it was pulled because of a small plagiarism, a little tiny clip in there. That's why you don't plagiarize on books, it's it's not good. It's not good. And yeah, if you're going let me give you cheating 101 with Bullhorn Betty. I know. If you're going to plagiarize, do it from somebody that's non-existent, right? Somebody that nobody's going to really find. When you're taking stuff from like BBC, which is more known than you, you're probably going to get a little bit of a problem. I want to say it's not a mystery. It's not a mystery. Let's see. I know I got something else here. I see another thing. I think that's it. I think I got everything. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to talk to you guys. I did do an update on, I did do a search on Becky Hill's son, Jeffrey, aka Colt Hill. It looks like the Attorney General's taking over. And I think we discussed this earlier in the month about how because they're moving it to a different court, they have a lot more subpoena power. We haven't really heard any more about Colton Hill at all outside of December related to this wiretapping. We don't know if they're using it as leverage to get to Becky. We don't know what's going on. We don't, we know that they do weird tactics like that. They will use, leverage on a family member to get to another family member. But the SLED agency they have to do their investigation. They need to get to the bottom. There were allegations alleged that Becky Hill did something in that courtroom. And if that's the case, he's depending on how severe it is, not just because something bad happened and it had no effect and it would never have affected the outcome of his trial. You cannot get a new trial if it's not going to affect the outcome of your previous trial. That's almost asinine. It's an oxymoron. You have to show that what happened would have affected the outcome of the trial to get a new trial. In most cases. There might be something. I don't know. I don't want to say on all cases that has to be the case. In most cases, that's the way it's always been. The only reason why I'm taking that back is because there may be a case out there that I'm unaware of, and I don't want to make that strong. But most cases, we'll say that. All right, guys, I told you I wouldn't stay here too long, and I've already been here for over an hour. So I'm not opening the phone lines. We're going to take a deep dive into Alec Murdaugh tomorrow. It's going to be a long day for us. For those that would like, you can come in and come and go as you wish. It's going to be one of those days. We have over 3 hours of just videos, the interview, him being on the stand, being questioned on the stand at the murder trial. We want to hear everything in its totality with Buster. This is the first time we actually get to compare the two side by side. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it all in one sitting or not. It really depends on if I can. Sometimes it's almost a little hard on me because we got to keep bouncing back and forth and keeping a lot of stuff together. And not only that, it's just a lot of listening. And so I know that you guys get burnt out, especially a lot of the monotone type of stuff. So I don't want to burn you out. So we'll play it by ear. If we can do it all tomorrow, we will. If it needs to be broke up in a couple days to get through it, then we'll do that as well. But I think it's a good time for us to kind of reflect on where we came, especially if we're going to be presented a new trial in the future. I really hope they don't. This was a very expensive trial. And I'd hate to know that the clerk of the courts cost the taxpayers money. Our taxpayer money, it needs to be protected. We have a lot of people that don't mind spending our money. And we need more people out there in the world holding our politicians in our counties and communities accountable for our taxpaying money that they're spending out there willy-nilly. We want to make sure that they're doing it appropriately and for the right things. And this would be one that would highly upset me if South Carolina has to expend millions and millions of dollars yet again to run another trial. it's going to be a tough pill for me to swallow as well as everybody else, but we'll do it. We'll go through it if need be. So we'll see how it all goes. There's nothing set in stone yet. We have now officially said, so we've got about 20 days to come up with about $260, $300 to go out here to Richland County to cover the appeal for new trial and see how all that goes. This is close to Columbia. We don't know. We might see a rare appearance from Buster while we're out there. We'll see. All right, guys, God bless you. Go make it a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Don't forget, 7:30, not 6:30, 7:30. And we may start pushing that out just a little bit because, we have a lot of people that I'm noticing is coming that's watching from California. And I'm getting some emails that they love the content, but it's a little too early for them. So I'm trying, we go through this every year, sometimes a few times every year, where we're trying to balance some timing so we can include more people. So we're going to start at 7:30 and see if we can get a happy balance at 7:30. And hopefully we can, because I got to be honest with you, I'm up so early, pushing it later and later. It makes me more tired and it causes me problems with my day because I research the rest of the day for various things, not just for true crime, but for other, things that I'm working on. So either way, we just need to figure out a happy medium for everybody, and we'll be working on that and testing out the water. So for the next week or two, we're probably going to go 7:30. We'll see how that works for everybody. And then if we're still having some issues, we'll check out a different timing. But we want to keep within that 2-hour time frame, 6:30 to 8:30, because that's our window. We've worked very hard for that window. I think a lot of people come here because they know we're up at that hour. We may also consider starting at 6:30 and just extending the live a little bit longer as well. That's an option. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. We'll figure out, because again, this is a channel for you guys. So you guys kind of make the rules yourself. So it's really, audience gets to make this decision, not Bullhorn Betty. So you guys get to go home tonight, lay your heads down, decide what you guys want to do, what time you want to wake up, what time we want to start the show. But I want to keep the morning show morning. We're not pushing that. If we need to have another show, which we've been playing around with, a lunchtime show as well as an evening show. And maybe we just need to keep, be repetitive in the time slot. So we get, people realize that we're committed to that time slot and start coming over here during those times. So we're just trying to figure out what's going to work for the channel for the 2024 session. So if you guys have some suggestions, please let me know. You can put those, send those to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. That's bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Guys, make it a great evening. God bless you. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, please be kind to one another. We say no to cyberbullying here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. God bless you.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.